The march toward MLS NEXT Cup returns to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, where across each age bracket, 32 teams will vie to be the last one standing come next championship Sunday. Today, two proven player development pathways, Chicago Fire in that championship DNA from last year, and New England Football Club, one of the country's premier elite academies. Great to have the MLS NEXT Cup playoffs kick off with the former first-round draft pick, the Chicago Fire, Jalil Anababa. I'm AJ Ricketts. Partner, looking forward to the next 9 or 10 days here in Murfreesboro. Look, the Flex events, they're a lot of fun. The GA Cup, that's a spectacle too. But the NEXT Cup playoffs, it's the culmination of a season, and you see the sense of urgency ramping up.
Yeah, you talk about culmination, a lot of hard work, dedication, rhythm, and flair has gone into not only getting here, but qualifying for this coveted tournament. Everybody's trying to be the national champion, but it's very difficult. When you talk to families around this whole environment, they're very happy to be able to support their young talent in the family. I'm most excited because this is the area that I call home. We're in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. So welcome, everybody, because we're going to have a spectacle this entire week.
You need to be a good host and show us the barbecue spots, too, of course. Let's take a look at the starting 11 for Chicago. James Field, one of a number of starting players here that was on that championship roster last year.
Of course, and when you look at any 4-3-3, you're looking at the focal point in Jimenez. He's going to need to be able to lead the line, not only through the press, but to get into the box, be very dangerous. Throughout the spine, the two center backs are going to need to be excellent in front of Nemo.
NEFC, New England Football Club, also coming out in a 4-3-3 here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be a very star-studded competition. I'm going to be very interested to see how the pressing goes because the front three, again, led by Alavi, is going to need to put a lot of pressure on this back line for the Chicago Fire. But, of course, what you're going to be looking at is the two center backs. Are they able to sustain and soar through a lot of pressure thrown at them?
James Blaze also going to be a player to watch along the left wing. Most consistent scorer this year for NEFC. Leads the team with 12 goals this year. Well, here we go. Two pathways looking to get the upper hand, move forward to the round of 16 for Chicago. Who might be next in this proven pipeline that's produced names like Slanina, who went to Chelsea, Gutierrez, or maybe Chris Brady, who's gotten all those caps in goal now for the first team. And for NEFC, it's an independent model for a club that's continued to prove they are one of the most consistent out there. But when it gets to this stage, Jalil, you know, there's, I don't know what to call it, chip on the shoulder, but they sense the opportunity that they have here against this MLS Academy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said in the open, there's a lot of hard work and dedication that goes into just qualifying for the playoffs. It's not easy, and it's not a foregone conclusion. So it's a huge accomplishment to both sides here. When you talk about, you know, New England FC, they are looking to stay compact. Although while they're pressed, they're going to be, you know, doing it in a 1v1 fashion, but they're going to look to hunt the ball and then try to get numbers forward as quickly as they can.
Chicago in the red kits. New England, fantastic regular season, performed well at the Flex events too. Chicago looks to diagnose things here from the back. We were talking with the NEFC coaching staff. Don't be surprised to see a lot of man marking defensively in pressure situations. Might be an entertaining style of soccer to watch for any neutral. You typically don't see it.
Yeah, and it's been tried and tested and, you know, proven in the first team ranks as well as far as 1v1 pressing. And the one thing is you have to get it absolutely right. If you don't and your communication isn't on point, you can get picked apart. But if you hunt the ball and get to it exactly where you want to and your triggers are on point, you can pick it up high up the field and get goal scoring opportunities.
Yeah, the coaching staff said, look, we're going to have to win our individual assignments here today. No doubt about that. But they are excited about the challenge against Chicago, which is plenty of DNA from that U15 squad last year that went down 1-0 in the championship match at Geodis Park, then rallied to score 3 consecutive goals, capped by the thrilling finish from Darius Height, who is one of a number of players who's playing up with the U19s here in the tournaments this week. And it's part of Chicago's philosophy that, especially when it comes to the NEXT Cup playoffs in particular, some of these 15, 16-year-olds up, they're going to get that opportunity this week, and that opens the door for a number of other players in the Chicago system to represent the 16s over the course of the next week, potentially.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the next pro pathway. It gives a lot of opportunities for players to test themselves. If they're performing at an extremely high level, age pure, typically they're pushed up to see how far their potential can take them.
NEFC trying to probe forward, played into the box, easy for Jason Nemo to handle. Well, that was kind of the style or the trajectory you had too. You were rarely playing at your age group, but that was part of your philosophy. You knew you were getting better if you were playing higher. Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, having an older brother and a older cousin in the household, it was like, to survive, I was playing up. Just to get enough food during dinner, you were playing up. So I didn't know anything better, and fortunately for me and a lot of kids, that type of mentality can translate into good sports careers. But it's just an environment of opportunity. That's what's best about, you know, the whole MLS Next system. And of course, now that we have MLS Next Pro, there's more landing spots at the professional level for our young talent.
Gomez trying to settle here, one of the three up front here for Chicago. Now Brody Williams, the talented box-to-box midfielder, getting one of his first touches from South Africa. Here's Field. Chicago trying to work into the attacking third for the first time today. NEFC cuts that off. You feel any of the tense moments early on in the match like this, starting off your next Cup playoffs, kind of wear away pretty quickly once you get on the pitch, get that first touch?
Yeah, I mean, it's common in any football game. In the first 10, 15 minutes, the nerves are going to show, especially in the first match of the competition. And then typically where the game settles in is after that 15-minute mark, or whoever hits the back of the net first. You're seeing a very pragmatic approach as far as the build-out is concerned for Chicago, and you have to give NEFC credit because, yes, they're looking to, at times, press 1v1, but they haven't gotten broken through.
NEFC expected Chicago to be on ball a bit more here today. Listed composure as an aspect that they're emphasizing heading into this match. Need to be okay with being off the ball a little bit more. Pick their spots, pick their moments. As the fire look to grow into the match here, Chavez sit back. NEFC will settle with a clearance near midfield. Look, the Chicago Fire Group. I mentioned the academy continuing to be a real pipeline of talent. Of course, Gabriel Slanina made headlines, the youngest starting keeper in MLS history before earning that move to Chelsea back in 2022. Brian Gutierrez running the show in midfield recently. He's already got 5 goals and an assist here in 2025, 100-plus MLS appearances. He's a product of this academy. We mentioned Chris Brady, who's firmly entrenched himself as Chicago's #1, already 50 MLS caps to his name. He's called into U.S. men's national team camp ahead of Gold Cup prep as well.
Yeah, when you talk about, you know, the Chicago Fire joining some of the better MLS clubs in terms of producing young talent, it's really started to improve over the last, you know, 5 to 10 years, and the 3 players that you mentioned are a testament of that. And what the Chicago Fire can continue to achieve, not only through pushing their young talent through the pipeline, but what is the prospect with their first team can certainly elevate as they continue to invest. They're now, you know, just announced their new stadium that's going to be in an amazing part of the city. The training facility is excellent. When you talk to the first team players, they just love going to work and being at work, and that elevates the entire experience, and it brings more exuberance for the youth to want to do anything and everything to get to that first team.
Well, it's fascinating. When I was chatting with the staff before the game, I said, what are you guys emphasizing ahead of this? That's some clever footwork there in the midfield. Brody Williams showing off some skill, advancing forward. Good touch on the ball here by Williams. Delivers it off to the side, and coming out of goal is Smaller, is called into action for the first time today. That's still a nice sequence from Brody Williams.
Oh, yeah, Brody Williams, that's better than a nice sequence. That's a little sauce. That's a little hot chicken for you right there. I like that he keeps going downhill, but you can see he understands at the right time where to slip it in. You got to give Smaller a lot of credit because his timely challenge to come out, pick that up, made it look very easy. If a goalkeeper hesitates there, it can be a lot more trouble than seen.
Williams on ball again, continuing to show his acceleration. Knocked to the pitch. That's going to be a foul on Kaio Akintan. Free kick here for Chicago. Williams, a box-to-box midfielder, South African born, trained at Barca Residency Academy in Arizona for a period of time. One of just 8 2010 born players invited to the U.S. Talent ID Center last fall. Of course, signed that Chicago 2 contract through 2028 recently. Making an early statement that he may be the player to keep a designated eye on over the course of the next 80-plus minutes. Remember, 45-minute halves. In differentiation of the GA Cup. This is lifted. Oh, got through just a bit too high. Things are on there for Chicago. Just over the head of the intended target and trickles out of play.
Yeah, the fire's heating up here. This is very good service just to clip this into a dangerous area. Smallers, as well as he came off of his line just maybe 2 seconds ago, you would have liked to think that he would have come out to maybe challenge that one, because if there's any touch on that service, dangerous situation.
Gomez on the far side, sprayed across. It was Napo trying to get ahead to it moments ago. Again, just over the noggin. Fire starting to look a bit more comfortable here. 10 minutes into the match. And I was referencing a moment ago when talking with the staff. I said, what are you guys emphasizing? And they said, well, Greg Berhalter and what he's doing right now. And if Greg can put a 16-year-old in at center back at the first team level, like Christian Cups, then the expectation is, well, they need to compete. It's not just for show. He will move players up that show they are worthy of that designation. And things like that get their players' attention really quickly when they see what the 16, 17-year-olds are doing at the first team level, potentially.
Yeah, absolutely, AJ. You bring up a really good point. And first thing I want to say is that, you know, it's not just the Chicago Fire that's giving a lot of, you know, confidence to their young talent that's coming through, and that's a testament to the entire pathway. But when you talk about Greg Berhalter specifically, it's really nothing new with him to trusting young talent, whether it was with the national team through the 2022 World Cup cycle, whether it was when he was the coach of the Columbus Crew, and now, of course, in this new, let's say this new era MLS, is perfectly suited for a manager that is very tactically sound and tactically aware, ball-oriented manager who has trusted in young talent to be in this organization that has already produced some of the likes of Gutierrez and Slanina. So what I like is that the Chicago Fire is just continuing to grow.
A phrase they said, this is not cosmetic. If we're moving you up, we expect you to contribute. Darius Height certainly going to have that opportunity this week. A number of other Chicago Fire players. Robert Turdine as well. He's made headlines. 9 goals this year. Next play, they're signing the second largest homegrown deal in MLS history. They're really happy to keep him in Chicago. There was European interest there. NEFC trying to make something happen off a long free kick. Rolls out of play. Team searching for their first shot of the match. I don't know if Chicago has started to probe a little bit more. U15 champions last year. Not everybody has departed from that squad here. They're trying to repeat, if you will, the U16 level. Head coach for Chicago Fire U16, Salim Talbi. He was in charge of the U15s last year. So they keep him with much of that squad. Rose up through European youth soccer before getting his degree at the French National Institute of Sport in Paris. Coached Empire Revolutions, coming over to the States in 2012. Also spent some time collegiately at Niagara and Hilbert College before joining the Fire Academy in 2018. So all sorts of experience, whether in Europe, collegiately at the NCAA level, and now, of course, in the academy system. On the other side, Anthony Rozier, standout professional career from 1986 to 2011. 25 years with spells in Scotland, England, including Brighton and Brentford. And, of course, 67 caps, 5 goals with the Trinidad and Tobago national team. As part of that squad when they lifted the Caribbean Cup. Two very distinguished head coaches leading both sides today here in this U16 first round matchup here in the round of 32. A little flick on there. Went out of play first as Aaron Jimenez was trying to guide it, angle it towards goal. That's the thing I've noticed, Jaleel, whether it's the academy systems here, or even MLS Next Pro, which has been so successful the first few years. Michael Bradley just named head coach Next Pro side recently. I mean, the quality of coaching is tremendous across the board. Benny Feilhaber has been a Next Pro head coach.
Yep.
Rico Clark up in Vancouver.
Yep.
So many U.S. internationals that are starting their coaching careers.
Yeah,
Next Pro or academy level.
Exactly. The opportunity in the Next system and the Next Pro system doesn't just start and stop at players. It goes into coaches as well. And you know, often complaint, I guess you could say, from organizations when it's young legends, when they want to get into coaching, is that they don't have any experience. So how can we bet on them? Now that argument is completely off the table, because when you have young coaches that are coming through, they have an ecosystem where they can really refine their skills and their tools as a coach. Michael Bradley is obviously from a lineage of amazing coaches, and it'll be very interesting to see what he does with an extremely talented organization in Red Bulls.
Yeah. Whistle blows on the near side. Napo is trying to create things. It will be a free kick here for Chicago. Emiliano Chavez will line it up. Who earned his first call-up to the U.S. U16 national camp in West Palm last spring.
What up?
NEFC isn't quite on the back foot, but they haven't had too many moments of their own in the first quarter hour. Chicago nearly had something really good on the last free kick. This from a little bit further out. More difficult angle. Good service once more. Trickles right into the arms of Smollers. Boy, 2 set pieces and nearly 2 excellent results for Chicago.
Yeah, this is Palacios coming forward. The big center back here almost gets on good service. The flag was up at the end of the day for offside, but we're seeing now in a multitude of fashions when the Chicago Fire gets the ability to put service in and bring their big trees forward, it's a dangerous situation for you. So if you're NEFC, you're going to want to limit the fouls that you're giving up in your attack, in your defensive 1/3.
How can NEFC grow into the game a little bit more offensively, or is this kind of the brand of soccer we might see today, and they'll really have to pick their spots?
Yeah, they're definitely going to look to pick their spots, look to stay compact and pressing, so to make it difficult for the Fire to play through them. But when they're on the ball, they need more possession. They're trying to go a little bit too direct.
Trying to launch from distance here. That was immediately snuffed out. They will keep possession.
And the reason, AJ, why it's so important to keep possession, even if it might not be your style, see here another long ball, is that sometimes it allows you to rest on the ball.
Nathan Marchand, a one-on-one opportunity, goes in line, sends it across, earns the first corner kick for NEFC today.
Yeah, better here from NEFC. A good diagonal ball over the top, but then the intent to put it into the danger zone here. This is good stuff. And anytime, you know, you've been absorbing a lot of pressure, another good way, of course, to get into the game is set pieces and corner kicks, because, again, it allows you to rest just a little bit. You can walk over to the ball, but then put Chicago into a very dangerous situation, test to see how good their set piece defending is.
Yeah, NEFC's had one free kick, but it's from midfield. Now from the corner. In swinger. Yeah, that goes well over the bar. Nothing to worry Jason Nemo there in the end. AJ Ricketts, Shalil Anababa, great to have you with us here at the MLS Next Cup playoffs. 45-minute halves, 90-minute matches. If the score is tied at the end of regulation, they will go straight to penalties until the championship matches, in which they will have a pair of 5-minute sessions. Chicago moving from right to left here again, looking to find something positive in the attacking half. NEFC extinguishes that threat, though. Can get out and transition quickly. That somehow got through. Lavi tried to play it wide, harmlessly in the end with Nemo. NEFC, one of the premier independent academies in the country, based up in Massachusetts, been around since 2001. And of course, while not directly tied to any MLS team, they've produced plenty of college prospects and players who've moved on to MLS academies or USL systems. They've been a fixture here year after year at the MLS Next Cup, trying to get one step further this time around.
And it's interesting, right after you asked me, okay, what do they need to do to get into the game? It seemed like they were listening to you down there on the pitch, because the pendulum has swung into their favor, and they have a little bit more rhythm here. I like how they're taking the sting out of the game and slowing it down just a little bit, because the faster the pace of the game on the ball, the more it favors the Chicago Fire. So here now in the 20th minute, we're seeing the game kind of lull off, and that's where it really starts to get difficult. There aren't really any more nerves, so you have to play the whole entirety of the chess match.
They're hoping that cross and corner kick may have settled things down. Late challenge there by Williams. New England wanted a card given.
Yeah, and you could see there situation where Williams just catches the cleat, and that's exactly why there's a foul. It's not malintent. He does a good job to try to kind of curl his leg to wrap around, but that contact is the reason why NEFC gets the call.
Williams had the highlight sequence a few minutes ago with the moves on ball. Really led to a great opportunity for Chicago. William McCarthy, the right back, playing forward a little bit, trying to add a bit more punch to the attack. The few opportunities NEFC's had in the attacking half, they hate to give it away in that style. Yeah, they'll pull players from all around the region. Rhode Island, New Hampshire, even Connecticut have done a terrific job really trying to centralize a lot of the talent that they can under the region in one umbrella, which is not easy to do with a prolific amount of teams that there are in that condensed region. Think of alums from NEFC's perspective. Noah Buck came through the program before going over to the Revolution Academy in 2017. He signed a homegrown MLS contract a couple of years ago. Malcolm Fry also ended up in Revs Academy.
Oh,
from distance here, ambitious. Nemo was back in time just in case, but tell you what, NEFC said, why not?
Yeah, why not is exactly right here. And again, I think what's happening is that the game is really starting to lull off and even out. You have to give New England a lot of credit, because what they did was they absorbed a lot of pressure, and now that the game is somewhat more level, Chicago Fire more psychologically is going to understand, okay, this game is going to be level. We have to be at tip-top shape to advance.
Again, New England's going to choose their spots to man mark and pressure. Interesting to watch if that could be an advantageous thing for them over the course of today's match. Fernandez got ahead to it to redirect. Goes to the feet of Field, who lost it.
Ooh.
Good turn there. There's Blaze, still on it. Sends it to goal, diving stop by Nemo. Had it covered along the left post. New England's looking more comfortable here 20 minutes in.
Yeah, looking a lot more comfortable. I like this here, the little cutback. Watch that little drag back between the legs and then the confidence to have a go there. Nemo's going to make that a comfortable save all day, every day. But at the end of the day, what I like is that New England is saying, we are ready to play. We are going to, dictate a portion of this game as well here. And again, whoever typically hits the back of the net first is going to really open things up, and then you're going to see all nerves go away, because it's still not exactly what you would like to think from both of these sides. They haven't hit their full stride yet, but it's heating up on both ends of the line.
And for our thoughts that the pulse might be in Chicago's favor in the first 15 minutes, it's New England with a 3-0 advantage in shots taken.
Yes, and as of late, again, the pendulum has swung into their favor. The Chicago Fire has been completely dominant as far as, possession is concerned, but possession is one of the most elusive stats in football for a reason.
That's a great challenge on Brody Williams, who looked like he was about to have another highlight moment. Chicago on the ball here, off a poor pass. Looking to find any avenue, Central. There's Field. Fire will reset. Plenty of pockets of space to operate with. Now they'll play it forward as Field makes a run, surrounded by 4 players from New England, and that's gobbled up by Smaulers. Well, keep in mind, too, and this is something the staff mentioned as well, Chicago played this year with what they felt as Marchand advances forward. Had a good 1v1 moment earlier. He guides it Central. That's handled. Meyer goes back to him, sent across. Chicago back 4, having to be on their toes. Good turn, Napo. Plenty of speed on the wing. 2 defenders converge. He redirects inward. Good cross. Cortez surveys, keeps it on the ground. That was right to a defender. Chicago felt they've operated a lot this year with the target on their back after winning that championship last year. They said they felt that teams knew, hey, they were U15 champions. A lot of players from that roster on. We want to beat these guys. They said eventually that dynamic made them that much better over the course of this year, having to play the defending champs, so to speak.
Absolutely. It's never easy to defend your championship, because it puts everybody on notice to say, okay, this is the top team, and every single fixture you have teams across the country that want to measure themselves against the best. And again, like we spoke about at the beginning, AJ, it's not easy to qualify for the playoffs here. So what I like is that you're not only just seeing MLS teams, you're seeing teams that are fully part of MLS Next that are getting into the playoffs, and they're challenging and pushing as well. MLS Next, the entire ecosystem, is about opening up more opportunity to catch a wider net of our youth. Oof.
Big contact and a free kick upcoming. 3rd for Chicago. Another look.
Yeah, this is a good clip ball over the top, an overzealous challenge. No malice in it. Fernandez is trying to go for the ball, but clatters through the play, and that's exactly why you have a situation where top box, yet another free kick, but this one is closer and more central. It's very possible that you have a situation where they go straight on net here. Chavez is over the ball. What does the left back do?
U.S. national team camp last spring. Shaping this one up, goes towards goal, well too low, rebounds right back to him, lofted high. Still not cleared. Chaotic sequence, ends up well wide of goal.
Yeah, New England is playing with a little bit of fire in terms of the fouls that they're giving up in their middle third, but most importantly the attacking third, because the Fire has shown that they're dangerous, especially when they're looking from wider areas to put service in. I like what New England did, though, with the wall to make sure that they stood tall, get a block in there. But you want to limit the fouls that you're giving in your attacking third, because a team like Chicago that has so much attacking prowess over the ball on set pieces will hurt you if you continue to give them opportunities to do so.
What do you like about how Chicago has played the first half hour here thus far?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It's very possession heavy. You would like to think that they would dominate possession, but they've found it difficult to break down New England. And you have to give New England credit because they put forth their game plan. They've been resolute in their defending, and they found opportunities as well.
Gomez going to Jimenez, tapped back out. New England deals with it well. Here's Marchand again. Mentioned the opportunities around the sport, the different clubs, different academies. We're going to get a look at BW Gotchi in a little bit after this match as they take on Austin. And the nightcap here of day one. Murfreesboro is becoming one of the many centers of soccer in America right now over the course of this week. Got about 15 to 20,000 people making their way here. You think about it, you got 32 teams across the U15s through 19s, and of course 20-something teams for the 13s and 14s as well, and all their friends and family members that are making their way.
And a beautiful facility and complex at that as well. You know, as you're walking from field to field. Ooh.
Gomez, shifty. Continues it on. Things are on here for Chicago. Rip towards goal. Sit back out. Necessary intervention. NEFC tracking back, keeping it scoreless.
Yeah, this is good movement here from Chicago Fire. You could see that just little skate pass, little irks get through here. And then this is exactly what you're going for, low and hard. But again, what you have to give New England credit for is they're quick to get numbers behind the ball and make it very difficult for the Chicago Fire to have open looks.
It was Tomas Cortez who ripped the shot. He's on the ball now. It's the first chance of good quality for Chicago today, coming about 29 minutes into this match. It was hard to tell from that angle if that was tracking towards the left post.
To me, it looked like it was always going wide,
yeah.
But again, that's a very good movement up the right side for Chicago. They're starting to grow into this game, but again, this is New England's game plan. They're okay with it. They're getting good pressure to the ball. When Chicago center backs have the ball, they have good defensive rotations. So for me, it's just continuing to do that. But when you're playing in a lot of heat as the game wears on, maybe into the second half, if you don't get possession to calm the game down, it can be very difficult to sustain this over 90 minutes.
Marchand continuing to work hard, trying to generate any chances here along the near side. Chicago sprays it forward again. This is Napo. I'm going to keep an eye on. Field looking to turn. Slim Talby was talking about Napo before the game, said, you know, he has the talent. He has a lot of promise. The question is, can he show you the consistency? That's what he wants to see from him today, and hopefully for Chicago in the course of this week. The absence of height on this U16 roster. Might it be Napo or Jimenez? Maybe Michael Gomez to be the main contributor. Pinballing a little bit around midfield. Good footwork by Jimenez to find Cortez. Now Field will flip the field. Leandro Chavez. Morales back to Cortez. Splitting a pair of defenders. Williams.
Ooh.
Chops.
And this is becoming a common theme. Williams getting on the ball, dancing around a little bit, looking for either an opportunity to have a shot at goal here or the angle to facilitate. Just the comfortability in tight spaces there. You can see it as the camera slows down. Yes, there is a challenge because it comes through just too overzealously through the back. But again, Williams is a player who was shining earlier on in this game. As it lulled off, we haven't been calling his name much, but if the Chicago continues to feed him the ball, they'll be in better and better spots.
Chavez going to take another one. Went straight into the wall last time. We'll clip it a little shorter, harmlessly into the arms of Smollers. Still at Chicago first to that, though. Just not able to generate enough pace on the header. Mistake on the distribution. Nussbaum wasn't expecting it. Fire trying to take advantage. Played central. Can they get a shot off? They lace one through. It's just high the crossbar. Nearly a disaster for New England. Unscathed that time, though.
Yeah, just an inadvertent touch here that goes right into a fortuitous area, but the ability to get down to the end line and then cut it back to Williams. Williams does very good to use the defender's momentum against him, cut back to his left foot. He's looking to go low and hard far post, but he's just leaning back ever so slightly. That's why it raises over the bar. 4
shots now for Chicago in this first half. They're having a little bit of issues getting things going offensively here the first 20 or so minutes. Talk about the first team for the Chicago Fire, coming off a rough 2024, missing the playoffs for the franchise record 7th straight season, as Fields pushes it forward, takes some contacts, and he will be whistled for the foul. Free kick for New England. Chicago hit the reset button in a major way this offseason. Look at the contact there on the field.
Yeah, Field, the captain, he's just, you know, trying to do exactly what anyone would do in that situation, trying to round that corner. It's good defending from New England, but the reason why it's a foul is because he just gets that slight push.
And they're causing problems here with the high pressure. It's now 2 takeaways off the goal kicks. Brooks. Morales. Playing a little keep away here. I mentioned the changes made. They brought in Greg Berhalter at the first team level. Major roster upgrades. You mentioned earlier the brand new performance center, helping modernize all the operations. And it might be starting to click now, the first team level. They have won 4 out of the last 5, including what was a demolition of DC United. 7-1. Turned a lot of heads league-wide. Of course, awesome atmosphere in that Inter-Miami match. 62,000 packing Soldier Field. Just trying to find consistency moving forward. They're in playoff position, but 2017 was the last time they did stay above the line. Going to be fun to watch if they can sustain this recent run.
Yeah, and you talk about just getting better and better, and that's exactly why Greg Berhalter has been brought in to the first team and given so much power and the ability to mold the team and the trajectory into the first team in the way that he wants it. And you know, we've seen iterations of that before, whether it's been Bruce Arena in New England or when he was at the Galaxy or now with San Jose. It works. I liked to play in those situations because you knew if you were brought into a team in that sense, the coach wanted you there.
Gomez didn't get enough behind that. Yeah, for all the early season struggles, they have hit a bit of a hot streak. You just know there's a vision in that franchise right now.
Correct, and that was what was lacking with the first team for years on end. And you know, you had Frank Klopas that would come in and do the job, whether it was assistant coach, head coach, broadcaster, or whatever, to try to keep things afloat for the Chicago Fire. But like you said, staying above the line hasn't been something that the Fire has done in recent years. And the city wants more, the fans want more. The investment is there now in full effect, and consistency is the only thing that is the question at this point in time, because the first team has shown a lot of promise. When you look at last weekend, they absolutely dismantled DC United, putting a touchdown on them. But then the reverse fixture against against Nashville, who they're going to be playing in about an hour and a half, was not very good for them when they were here in the city of music.
They won't come. Your pass. They won't come. And go to Mark.
New England trying to generate something in transition here. Blaze still dribbling through traffic. Finally an intervention late. New England probing around the 18. Played towards the inline. Across the mouth of goal. Parried away there by Nemo well. Best sequence for New England today. Now Chicago looking to quickly counter. Adafio did well to sprint back. Maybe Chicago will look to settle momentarily. That was nearly the moment for New England.
Yeah, New England is showing a very good understanding of how to not just sit in their banks, but when they get into the attacking third, they understand exactly how to manufacture goal-scoring opportunities. They've been poised in those moments. There haven't been too many because they haven't had much of the ball, but they've had the more clear-cut chances because when they attack, they do it with purpose and they do it with urgency.
Good challenge by Marchand. Goes back to Napo here. Cuts to his right. Shot is blocked off the back of Dimage. Trickled out to Morales. Here's Cortez now. 5 shots for Chicago in the first half, 4 for New England.
An even game in all senses of the word. You know, possession will tell you otherwise, but that is not what's most important in football. It's how dangerous are you in the attacking thirds.
New England fails to clear. Good turn, shot ripped and just parried over the bar. Corner kick.
And you can see Smaller's just encouraging his team to get a little bit more pressure to the ball. Now he's organizing here. But guess who it is? Yet again, Williams just hitting that little pirouette and then getting it off on his left foot there. He's looking for that top bends. Doesn't go right of the goalkeeper as he wants it. But this is the sign of a confident attacker. It's not just through the run of play. It's not just link up. It's looking for goal scoring opportunities, and he's gotten better and better as this match has gone on.
Yeah, to me, Williams is the standout for Chicago in this first half, undoubtedly.
Yeah, for sure. The best player on the pitch. And he's not only dictating the flow, he's also looking to get other people into the matchup, and he's also looking to score himself.
This is a good service from the corner, punched out by Smollers. Threat is not over. Adafio was able to guide it towards Blaze for a moment. Chicago. Taking it right back, but Alavi, good footwork. They rip it right away, and now New England. Is this one of the moments they choose? Good switch. Positive touch by Blaze as he settles. Back to Adafio. Now New England will play it around. Catch the future stars of Major League Soccer in action at the 2025 MLS Next All-Star Game, presented by Allstate, as 44 of the best young talents from across North America face off in an East vs. West showdown, streaming Monday, July 21st at 7:30 p.m. Central from Palmer Field, home of Austin FC2, only on the MLS YouTube channel. Let's join us in Austin to watch the game live. Admission is free. Open to the public. Don't miss your chance to see the next generation of stars take center stage. Next Pro has been a player pathway. 170 Next Academy players played in MLS Next Pro this year. 83 different MLS Next alums have signed professional contracts and played in first team matches this year. The system has shown over the last 3 or 4 years since being incorporated.
Yes, higher, you don't need to be there.
Now day one of the MLS NEXT Cup playoffs underway. Chicago here in New England. A lot of space to operate with. Jimenez dancing with his defender. Can't get it across goal, but does earn another corner.
Yeah, earns another corner, but the reason why there's no space in there and makes it very difficult to break NEFC down is because they have 8, 9 players in the box, and it's not just that they're in the box, it's that they're very well allocated. They understand their defensive responsibilities. They're one cohesive unit, always very difficult to break down.
Been some vulnerabilities on set pieces, though, for New England. If you were to spotlight a weakness in this first half, been better in the run of play. Chicago taking exception to something here prior to the kick. Don't know if it was the distance of that initial defender. Now they'll send it away. Third corner kick, high in the air. Fields the only one around it, bobbling around.
Oh.
Nearly the first goal there.
Wow.
Off the rebound, it's blocked. Volleyed, out of play. How did that not go in goal?
Because there's good defending in front of the goal. That's exactly why. And this is what I like. This is heart. This is determination. This is what it looks like to get to the MLS Next Pro playoffs. You're willing to do everything it takes to throw your body in front of the goal, in front of the ball, and get blocks in. This is pride. This is standing up for your community. This is standing up for your team. I like this here. The Chicago Fire has become more and more dangerous as this game goes on. But look at Smaulers. He gets big here, and then there's a couple bites at the apple. Good defending for NEFC.
Wow, Jimenez was 2 yards out. Hit it right at the keeper. Fields' header is off target. Smaulers, good instinctive reactions. I'll tell you what, too, for all the man marking that NEFC does, they've left Field open twice now on these set pieces. It was more of a problem on the last corner. Jimenez that close to scoring.
Yeah, and Field and Jimenez, they're players that have good size as well, so you don't want to habitually leave them open. Fields is no stranger to rising up and trying to get on the end of good service. Of course, your number 9 and Jimenez is looking to get on the score sheet as well. So the only thing that I would say to criticize NEFC is to just get a little bit tighter in their marking and to limit the fouls that they're giving up. Sometimes corner kicks, you have to live to die another day, but the fouls that they're giving up are a little bit too much because Chicago from minute 1 has shown that they're dangerous on set pieces.
The Fire have 9 shots. Well, went over the head. That was misjudged. Gomez was trying to take advantage. Tomas Fernandez desperate defending there. Yeah, 9 shots, but don't forget about those 2 sequences that didn't count as shots in the end. The free kick and then the offside after that as well. As the whistle blows on the first half. Entertaining first 45 minutes. Chicago with 9 of the 13 shots taken and plenty of opportunities generated. Nothing to show for it thus far on the scoreboard. The MLS Next Cup playoffs are underway from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Thrilling first 45 to go here at the MLS Next Cup playoffs.
I'm hanging on like a fridge to a magnet. The jigsaw with all the right pieces. You and me, we go good together.
Dolce? On. Stars on.
Kevin Sullivan, the history maker.
30,000 friends? On. Rivalries on.
Versus New York City.
MLS. This is our soccer. Game on.
Just about set to start second half action at the Siegel Soccer Complex in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's day one of the MLS NEXT Cup playoffs. No score, New England and Chicago starting us off. Great to be alongside Jaleel Anababa. I'm AJ Ricketts. Chicago had 9 shots in the first half. That didn't actually count because that was offside, but it was symbolic, representative of how Chicago's on the front foot.
Absolutely. Palacios trying to get on the score sheet there. But then again, when you flip it and look at what New England can do, they can be very dangerous, direct, and go straight to goal here. This is a routine save for Nemo, but that's very good ingenuity to get out of very tight pressure there. New England has kept themselves in this game through their defense, but when they've had opportunities, they go to the net with prowess.
This was Milan Napo. Chicago had 2 chances off some poor distribution in goal. This was one of them just ripped over by Brody Williams. He was probably the most impressive player for Chicago.
Probably, no doubt about it. The best player on the pitch in the first half. Wasn't able to find the score sheet. He was facilitating. He was looking to get on the score sheet himself as well.
There was some chaos towards the end of the half. There's another shot from Williams. One of 2 saves there made in goal by Smallers. Look, makes it look simple here.
That little pirouette is nice. The technique with the net left foot, even nicer. But Smaller says, nah, you need a little bit better to get past me.
This is the best chance for Chicago here. Hard to, you watch it again. How do they not score? Hit right at Smallers. Jimenez is right there.
This is hard. That Smaller's there. Of course, if you hit it anywhere to the right or left of him, you're finding the back of the net. But the ability for the secondary action to block, that's your defensive wall right in front of you. 0-0 for a reason.
Chicago that close. All right, those are the moments you rewatch on film and you're just like, man, give me another shot at that. How did I hit that right at him?
Absolutely, but you have a snapshot to really just sink into your subconscious and place that into the corner. You've done a million finishing drills where that hits the back of the net. But me as a defender, I love moments like that because on the flip side of things, what a lot of people don't talk about is blocks, and saves off the goal line like that are just as important as goals, and that's what gives you more and more confidence to go into the second half from New England's perspective.
Those split-second moments that can make or break a match. How might that play a role through the next 45 minutes? Will that missed chance influence the final score line? Fun second half in store. Chicago, 9 of the 13 shots taken in the first half. Didn't have anything for the first 15, 20 minutes. It was actually New England, 2 or 3-0 lead in the shots department for a little bit. See if Chicago might have that finishing touch here in the second half. Round of 32 here, the MLS NEXT Cup, quickly inside the 18, shifting left, what a chance here, dribbling around, no, couldn't get around the keeper. Smallers gets on top of it. Aaron Jimenez, another beautiful opportunity.
This is very good play here to split the lines, and then Jimenez does excellently to cut. You got to have a shot right there, though. But one thing you need to understand here, AJ, is that Smallers does a very good job to cut off the angle, shrinks the size of the goal, and that's why he's able to make the save.
Chicago still threatening. You're not done yet. Going to get to the end line. Play it across, nobody there. Encouraging early moments.
This completely contrasts the start of the game in totality for Chicago. They played in a more pragmatic fashion to try to break down NEFC, and now they're coming straight out of the locker room, or the tents, I should say, with a lot of menace. They're looking to get straight onto the score sheet. What the coaches said in the tents is really invigorating this group, and they're not waiting. This is the urgency that we like to see and what we're typically used to when it comes to MLS Next playoffs.
What do you think the discussion revolved around in that Chicago tent, and correspondingly for NEFC as well?
Yeah, for Chicago, I would have imagined that it would be to be more aggressive, to be more urgent. Don't slow the pace of the game down, because that allows NEFC to get into the game. We saw that play out throughout the course of the first half. And then on the flip, what NEFC was probably talking about was to still stay in your banks, be pragmatic. But then when we get our opportunities, make sure we punish the Chicago Fire, because they did have a lion's share of opportunities where they could have found the back of the net as well.
It wasn't as if that was a half with nothing to hang their hat on from a New England perspective. There were encouraging moments, perhaps not in the same amount of opportunities as Chicago. They put themselves in position to do some damage.
Yeah, correct. Like we spoke about during the first half, it was a pretty even game as far as goal scoring opportunities were concerned, and the ability maybe to have found either side up, maybe 1 or 2-0, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, dominating possession doesn't always mean that you're dominating the game.
Flag is up here as NEFC went over the top, trying to find the Lavi. Here in beautiful Murfreesboro, Tennessee, about a 40-minute drive southeast of downtown Nashville. Beautiful area in Tennessee you call home after finishing your career with Nashville SC. Also spent, of course, the start of your career, Jalil, with Chicago after being drafted 9th by the Fire. Fields here turning. Ooh. Good footwork. Trying to continue the sequence on. Trickle out of play. Some physicality at the end of that. 2 years in the 2010, Chicago reached the playoffs. You were on one of those 2 teams, the 2012 squad that got him that wild card spot. What do you recall when you reflect upon those early years of yours in the MLS and the time specifically that you spent with Chicago and the good team you had in that 2012 year?
Yeah, it's a very talented team, but the enjoyable experience of being in a tight-knit locker room, that really helped me early on as a rookie, just to learn and to have an environment where the veterans, the World Cup veterans, the Pavel Pardos, the Arna Friedrichs, the Corey Gibbs, the Logan Pauses, they really pushed me and taught me how to be a pro, right? And then as far as the talent is concerned, you have the likes of Marco Papa, Patrick Nyarko, Chris Rolfe. Ooh.
Blaze trying to put the moves on here, get it across. 1-on-1 defending, still with it. Gets by a defender that took a little bounce over the line. They'll say Nemo got to it first, and he'll send it away.
Yeah, well done there from Nemo, but Blaze really showing that he's saying, okay, Chicago Fire's trying to bring the heat in the second half. I got a little sauce too, but just to finish off the point, as far as the Chicago Fire is concerned, when we got into the playoffs way back when, it seems like ages ago, it was just a mix of very good talent, but most importantly, a tight-knit locker room.
Smaller is able to get it out of there.
Ooh.
What a challenge. I mean, you were in a situation, you're a young player trying to make your mark, especially defensively. You can't make a lot of mistakes. When you're a young player, whether center back or outside, like what are you looking at when you evaluate the back four of whether Chicago or New England here? How's a young player can you make an impact early like you did in Chicago?
Yeah, I think it's playing simple when you're in your defensive third, and then as you progress into higher and higher, progressed moments of the pitch, you can get a little bit more, I guess, risky in what you're doing. When I would play right back, and if I would go forward, I'd look to put early balls in here, and I think Chicago Fire could do that just a little bit more because they've seen when they're wide on set pieces and they whip it into that space in between Smallers and the PK spot, they found joy, but they've yet to do that through the run of play.
We're going to have our first substitutes of the match here. NEFC have a pair ready to come in. Looks like G.A. Park and Will Nielsen. First 2 substitutes of the match. Nielsen, number 26 there. Park was second on the club in goals scored this past season. At 11, he's going to be spending more time in this neck of the woods here soon. He is going to join Nashville's academy for the upcoming season. I was talking with the New England coaching staff before the game. Certainly, when you're at a club like New England, you love continuity with your roster year in and year out, but this is also part of their goals as well. They're very proud of the players they can send on to MLS academies like Park will be very soon. Quick, you trigger it back in. Park fresh into the match. Sprays it across. This is Dimaj. Haven't said his name too much today. Adefio. Long diagonal ball here.
It's a good ball.
Excellently done. Trying to tap it forward. It's kind of disappointing when you see a diagonal ball of that quality kind of whimpered out in the end. Good ideas here, though, from New England. Played long here. Jimenez giving chase. Or Gomez, excuse me. Gomez along the end line. He's brought down. That might be our first card of the match.
Ooh, I guess just
maybe not.
Yeah, I guess just a talking to there.
Tomas Fernandez.
Yeah, Fernandez got himself in a world. He thought that he could just kind of shield it out. But at the end of the day, Gomez does a very good job to kind of swim move him legally and then gets himself into a situation where he's on the wrong side of the defender. And, you know, for me, I would have brandished a yellow card there, but I'm not mad at letting the players play.
This is where Chicago has been at their best. Scampers across, and somehow again, Smollers has been a magnet for the soccer ball today.
Yeah, he really has. A lot of opportunities have come off of set pieces yet again from wide areas. This is good service yet again, and then the captain gets through. It bounces right to Smollers, so there's not much that he needs to do. If they can find the corners, they'll be poised to hit the back of the net.
Great touch by Field. You can't ask much more from him in that situation. He's able to redirect it towards goal. And Smollers didn't have to do too much work. Admirable not to let it spill still, though. '55th minutes. New England, Chicago. Fire searching for a clinical finish here in the second half. The chances belong to them. Brody Williams off to Field. Field was trying to get it back to him, went under the foot of Williams. And now to chase towards the circle. Blaze working hard. Got a pair of substitutes now in for New England, and Nielsen and Park. Chicago has not yet gone to the bench. One substitute is readying up, though, along the sideline. Here's Williams. Recently signed his Chicago 2 contract through 2028 with some options to extend. Bit of a jersey tug there from Morales. Recent invite to the U15 national team training camp. All right, partner, we've got 18 broadcasts over the course of the next week here in Murfreesboro.
Oh yeah.
Me and you, we've got 3 to start things off. It's part of our duty to educate, right? Inform the viewers watching.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
here in Murfreesboro. You're a Nashville native. Do you know why Murfreesboro? It's a unique town, right? You know why it's called Murfreesboro?
Listen, what they call us here in this Nashville area are unicorns. What a unicorn is somebody who actually was born here and is a native and still lives here. I am not a unicorn. I'm from Cali. So
I was about to say you're not.
Yeah, if you're getting into, you know, Murfreesboro history, you're going to have to educate me, my brother.
I'd be glad to. After this intriguing sequence here, shot is wide of the post as that was Tomas Cortez looking to find the frame. Chicago will go to the bench for the first time today. We'll get to that substitute in a moment. All right, well, let's dig into it. All right, let's inform, educate. Hardy Murphy, all right, Continental Army Major, Revolutionary War. As you see our first substitute here for Chicago. That's Joao Parachi, leading scorer on the club, 16 of them this year. He comes in off the bench here in the second half. Might he find the goal for Chicago? 10 shots today, no goals yet. Foul calls and a free kick coming up. Harvey Murphy, Continental Army Major, critical role, the Battle of Stony Point back in '79. Okay, the British, they had a heavily fortified position on the Hudson. Cliffs, trenches, can you picture this, right? Artillery, spikes in the ground, just impossible to attack. George Washington was leading the battle plan for this. He said, Harry, we're going to do a nighttime assaults, but he needed a diversion, okay? That's where Murphy steps in. He leads a full frontal feint. Do you know what that is? A frontal feint?
That sounds something like my haircut, bro.
I'll get to it right after this free kick.
Right.
No, I'll tell you before. It's a direct attack. It's just a hard charge straight down the middle.
Okay, route one in soccer terms.
Yeah, imagine going straight down the middle of the pitch.
Gotcha.
Towards the goalie. The frontal feint. I'm going to give this free kick some attention real quick. That's over the crossbar. Back to the Revolutionary War. He's drawing cannon fire, muskets. The British is full attention. George Washington, he's a smart guy. His forces sneak around the back under the cover of darkness. It works. The British, they're like, what just happened? The fort falls. Murphy, he's the hero. He had the courage to go straight at the British. Somehow he stayed alive. I don't know. It seems like it was not destined to survive that. He did, and because of that, this well-executed diversionary tactic 250 years ago, his name lives on. The veterans of the war, they were given land grants around the region for their service. Murphy, well, he never actually lived here, but his family did. His descendants played a role in settling the region, and then they decided to name the town after Murphy, a Revolutionary War hero who went straight at the heart of the British. And that is why we are in Murfreesboro today.
And that is why you are the play-by-play announcer, because I could never do what you just did.
We're here to educate. Just over the bar again, Chicago trying to find the net. Took some courage.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going straight at the cannons.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, to be honest with you, one of the things about football is that it not only requires courage, it breeds it, right? And that's what you see down on the pitch when you look at, you know, the younger and younger age groups compared to when I was playing. Okay. You have to have courage on the ball. You have to have courage and understanding of the entirety of what's required as a footballer. Ooh.
Excellent through ball, well weighted. Is this the one for New England? Oh, what a save. Nemo is there, staunchly denied an hour in. That keeps it 0-0.
Yeah, and you talk about courage. That's a very courageous moment here, and NEFC is growing into this match.
Fifth shots of the match for NEFC. Will that get them some confidence? Watch out now! Ooh. Dribbled and saved. That would have been one of the moments of the tournament. Wow.
Yeah, and we're going to look at this first chance here. This is just second ball recovery, and then this Travella pass with the outside of the foot is excellent. Park comes into the game, and he's tasked to do exactly that, stretch the back line. And then, oh yeah, you go from a Travella pass to a little bicycle there. Nemo almost sees it trickle into the back of the net, but he's been up for every single challenge. Now this game is really showing why Murfreesboro is the center of MLS Next Pro when it comes to the playoffs, and things are starting to get a lot more interesting down there on the pitch.
I mean, two high degree of difficulty sequences. What a pass on that through ball. And then, of course, the athleticism, the audacity on that bicycle.
Again, I talked about courage just a second ago down on the pitch. Audacity lives in the same house as courage. And what I like is, you know, on both sides of the ball, you have an understanding of what is tasked. I like how New England has been going about this game here. They understand exactly what every individual player is supposed to do, and a lot of times when you have a team sitting in a block, they don't have the courage on the ball. But as this game has gone on, you can see New England, they're not just hoofing the ball forward, they're trying to find their attacking players, and you can see what they're trying to do, and it makes a lot of sense the way that they're going about this second half.
That was the best 60 seconds of play in this match for New England. Can they look a little bit more like that the rest of the way? Appears as if they shifted gears. Blaze stops on a dime, trying to spray at the Park, who had stopped his run. Blaze is looking to cause issues. Chicago does get it towards the circle. Dimash with space, straight into the defense. Back to him along the end line. We'll clip it high and into the banners.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing here. As New England grows into the second half, they're showing that they're willing to stand up and be counted, but they're again, anytime they advance into their attacking third, AJ, they do it with teeth, they do it with purpose, they don't wait. And, you know, oftentimes when you have a team that has spent a lot of time absorbing a lot of pressure, what your mind does is it plays tricks on you, and you think that you can just hit that Hail Mary pass and then you're defending again for another bout of 10 minutes. But in the second half, what they've done better is that they've been able to connect with their midfielders when they've been defending in their lower blocks and then advancing very quickly into their attacking three, and they found a lot of joy doing that. If they keep it up, Chicago will have a lot of pressure and a difficult second half.
And a different personality from them as we take a look at what's to come tomorrow. U17s, the round of 32 going. Weston FC from South Florida and FC Greater Boston Bolts starts off the triple header of coverage at 3:45. U19s get going after that. Queen City Mutiny, Houston Dynamo at 6:30. And in the nightcap, Cedar Stars Academy, San Jose Earthquakes. Cedar Stars, Bergen had a really nice run to the final last year here at the MLS Next Cup playoffs. Partner, you've got all three of those tomorrow. The coffee pot ready in the broadcast booth for you come the 9:30 game.
Oh, I stay ready, man, so I don't have to get ready. I stay ready, and it's a great opportunity. It's a great responsibility to be here in the booth in these tournaments, and I'd really like to see how our young talent is repping for not only their cities, their clubs, but most importantly for their families and themselves. So this is the arena where dreams are made here. We've seen so many top-level talented kids come through this ecosystem and go on to represent their first teams, go on to represent youth national teams and the full team as well. So this MLS next situation has really proven a lot of dividends for not only these organizations throughout MLS, but of course all families that have put a lot of support into their youth and into their kids.
You can see how much it means every game over the course of the week. The emotions are on display with every final whistle. And last year, of course, it's been a neat opportunity for these players to get to go to Geodis Park. With the logistics of the Club World Cup, won't be able to have that opportunity this year. The championship will be at the Siegel Complex, which has been a fantastic host year after year now here in Murfreesboro. This will be a corner kick for Chicago. Really excited for the Club World Cup. Nashville, of course, a host. The best around the world making their way across the states for this tournament here starting off today. Fifth corner kick of the match for Chicago.
And they've been dangerous on set pieces, and what they've been doing is dropping balls right in front of the goalkeeper in that 6-yard box. So look for them to do the same with the three trees crashing forward, the captain one of them.
Chavez takes a hop, and again right towards Smollers. His coaching staff very high on him. So he's got a good profile, great command, as well with his distribution. There were some hiccups in that department in the first half. He has settled in nicely. Chavez trying to guide it forward. A little over 20 minutes to work with for both sides before an immediate shootout might take place. Morales here. Chicago's brought in their leading goal scorer this season off the bench, and Perecci leads the Fire with 16 goals. Can he find number 17 here in the final 20-plus minutes? Fields got his head to it, didn't really redirect it.
Good ball. Can he get to it, though?
Just a bit too heavy. Celine Talby said that championship last year, that brought this team even closer together this year. They felt they could control games even if they went down. There was no panic in this group. He's been real impressed with their maturity over the course of the year. And talking about what they wanted to emphasize to their group, the Chicago U16s today, Talby said our attitude has to be there to defend. It has to be there to attack. I want us to be creative and comfortable, and I want to have a bit of bravery in there as well. We've seen examples of all of those today, but it's New England who's showing some of that moxie as well in the second half. Probing once more, Park guides it well, sent across, volleyed, and blocked. That was struck well.
Oh,
and that would be a foul on Marchand. Who's to say where that would have gone had that not been stepped in front of, but Chicago's defense doing its job.
Yeah, and Williams is asking for a yellow card, basically saying, okay, what needs to happen for a yellow card to be brandished? And there it was upon request. The tide of this game has really shifted, though. And what's interesting is that Chicago Fire's gone away from how they went about the game in the first half, which was a more methodical approach, possession-based play. And that's no surprise to me, though, because when there isn't that quite urgency, you think you have so much time left in the game, you can play a little bit more methodical. But what NEFC has done is frustrated the Chicago Fire in doing that, and now you're seeing the Chicago Fire almost flip in terms of how they're playing, and it's looking more like New England was in the first half, going a lot more direct because they know they're looking at the clock and the clock is ticking. But NEFC has really been the better team for me in the second half because they've sat in their banks very well, but they've gotten more numbers high up the field in their press, and then when they go forward, they've had the better chances.
Do you think that's frustration from a Chicago perspective? What do you think's caused this change of character?
No, it's just because New England has done very well. They've played this game to the T. Smallers has been excellent. They've had trouble getting past or to this right or left of him, let's say, and then they've done a very good job in New England in taking their chances well. They just haven't hit the back of the net. So when you see a situation where the game is more level, you have to try to change your style. And Chicago is doing that, but still haven't found the joy that they're looking for.
Sense of urgency starting to ramp it up here for both sides. Certainly get the sense one goal could be all it takes. Still marveling at the sequence a few minutes ago for New England. Perfectly weighted through ball and then the bicycle. Both of those opportunities nearly resulting in the opening goal. Sent in long. No problem, Nemo.
That's a foul. Well done from Nemo and good distribution. Akinton is just he's looking confused. Oh, the yellow card. That's a little bit harsh for me. Chicago Fire is off to the races. And the reason why it stopped is because the referee is giving a yellow card. You can't continue on with a quick restart if the referee is putting somebody in the book. But Akinton again was looking to get close to the striker. I think that's inadvertent contact, and I think a yellow card is harsh there.
So they win the entirety of this match without anyone going into the book. And now a pair of New England players given yellows in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Williams dispossessed. This New England defense just converges and plays with such heart. Fields. Palacios and Brooks have been manning the center back spots well. Now Perecci into the match a few moments ago. Perecci is the leading goal scorer, forces a dive to be sure. Smollers knocks it out of play. It'll be another corner for Chicago.
Yeah, this is a more expansive save here from Smollers because he has to shuffle to his right and then get back to his left. He does very well. The substitute here in Perecci does a good job here to wiggle free. It's a little bit of a fortuitous bounce, stays with it, and then that shot across the grain is difficult for a goalkeeper to get. But what I like about what Smollers does, he doesn't give a second bite at the apple because his parry is at a good angle.
It's been an admirable game from the New England keeper. Constantly on edge today, but he's been up to task. It's an opportunity that goes a waste for Chicago when they've sent in good service. They've caused problems on these corner kicks. Smaller's more than content to see that go over the goal and send this away himself. AJ Ricketts, Jalil Anababa. Just over 15 minutes to go here until potential shootout between New England and Chicago. MLS Next Cup playoffs, U16s, round of 32. Chicago playing a lot of their top 16-year-olds up with the U19s this week. They certainly feel this squad is more than formidable enough to do the same kind of damage their U15s did last year. They're getting all they can handle from this New England side. That has proven they belong at this level. Certainly worthy of advancement. They've had a couple chances here in the second half to really raise some eyebrows. You can feel the support and the energy of their supporters in the stands here grow with each passing chance. Chicago is built on quality as well. They've only lost once in the last 6 matches dating back to the start of May. That was 2-1 to FC Cincinnati on May 24th. Reached the round of 16 at the GA Cup. This is New England's first game since May 21st. They did knock off an MLS side in Orlando. It was a 1-0 win on May 10th. Played against LA Galaxy following that, lost 2-1. Trying to get their offense going. Just 3 goals in their last 5 matches. Obviously a defensive effort today. They've been leaky at the back at times. They've been able to hold off Chicago to get to a point in this match where one may be enough. Their head coach, former Trinidad and Tobago international, Anthony Rozier, has to be thrilled with the effort he's seen thus far. Chicago had control of things in the first half, trying to find that sort of form here down the stretch. Using width now. Cutting inside. Harmless in the end. Cortez was kind of flat-footed as he put the foot the ball there. A little interplay from Chicago here. Field has some space. Gets to this area of the pitch, Chicago just haven't felt as confident in the last 30 minutes. J.J. Brooks goes straight into the teeth of the defense. Chicago's back four. Passing it around a lot here the last few minutes. Trying to figure out this New England defensive shape. Overlapping run. Chicago does get a cross in. Nobody on the end. Perecci was making his way closer to the 6. Second half substitute here for Chicago. Cortez, beg your pardon. Morales here. Cortez playing higher up the pitch. Napo looking to get to his left, ran into traffic. And will be a possession awarded to New England here, who should feel confidence right now, not just because they've been able to keep Chicago off the scoreboard despite all their opportunities. You could say New England has played a better half.
They have, yeah, and they have. And I said it earlier as well, you got to give a lot of credit to the back line, and they're protected with the hard work of Aquí. He's been doing a very good job. Yes, he got a yellow card earlier on, but the hard work that he's been putting in, breaking up plays, has allowed them to get out on the break just like this.
Things maybe on here for Napo. Out of play, both teams pleading for a goal kick or a corner. Yeah, a goal kick for Smallers.
Yeah, that's good. That's good recovery defending there from the captain and Fernandez. He comes across and then gets a goal kick there, and that's through understanding the urgency and then getting over and then blasting it off the attacking player with substitutes coming into this match. Let's see who can change the tide potentially of the last 10 minutes.
Marchand coming off for New England. You got Harrison Bernhardt in for Chicago. You got to look at him there. He was at the GA Cup and MLS Next Fest as well. Cortez coming off the pitch.
Let's get organized there. Come on. Hey, you want it? Open up. Open up. And open up again, someone. Here, come. That doesn't make any sense. You're putting him in trouble here.
Thomas Grindle into the match for New England, meanwhile. Matthew Smith also in for NEFC as well. So 4 substitutes have been used now for New England. 2 for Chicago. Perecci and Bernhardt, the 2 for the Fire. Napo, middle of the pitch. Let's raise it wide. Finn McCraney, another substitute that just entered as well. He attended the U15 boys national team training camp in Argentina recently. Third corner kick of the second half here for Chicago. Last one sailed out of play. Morales will deliver service in. It's a little better. Smaller's off his line to pick up possession. Napo is trying to get towards the 18. Possession still with Chicago. About 7 minutes left here in regulation. Bernhardt lays it off. Chavez to his left. Bernhardt. And another corner. Chavez will take it this time from the far side. First half corner kicks were of the utmost danger for the Fire. Last couple have not been as sharp. This one here draws a whistle before anything else happens. And it's going the other way. New England has obviously had a really strong half, as we've talked about, but there was about that 10-minute stretch when they really had the foot on the gas. And we're clearly looking at the better side, developing more chances, including two in about a 60-second span. You wonder if they're really trying to take that moment to go for it there and might be content with getting to a shootout from this point. Stand a little bit further back in their defensive shape the last 10 minutes. Napo trying to get around the edge. Oh, that's really well done there. Plays it forward, took a heavy touch. But it will be a corner. Went off the foot of Akintan.
Yeah, and he's been a standout player in the second half for New England. Akintan just making sure that he's plugging up any holes that Chicago's trying to exploit, because they have grown themselves back into the more dominant side in the second half. In the last 5 minutes, they've been playing very well, but found it very difficult to, again, break down NEFC.
Morales high in the air, charging from the back line with Chavez. Wasn't able to strike it quite right. Sails over the bar. Reminder once more to catch the future stars of MLS in action at the 2025 MLS Next All-Star Game, presented by Allstate. 44 of the best young talents from across North America in an East vs. West showdown. Monday, July 21st, 7:30 p.m. Central from Palmer Field. That's the home of Austin FC 2. Only on the MLS YouTube channel. If you're in Austin, watch the game live, admission free, open to the public. Don't miss your chance to see the next generation of stars take center stage. That one nicked out of play, but Chicago's getting chance after chance here from the corner as time starts to tick down in the second half.
Yeah, Paracci's done a very good job off the bench to just try to push the issue. He's converting corner kick, getting corner kicks, drawing corner kicks rather for his side here. He's had that shot where it forced Smallers to shuffle across the side of the net. So that's what you're supposed to do when you come into the match. But Chicago Fire needs to convert on a corner kick because they were dangerous earlier on.
Guided it back out of the box. Tried to recycle it back in. A couple Fire players offside. Didn't want to go for it. Well, New England will play it down the pitch along the far side. Park, who entered the game in the second half. Since it's Central, chance here. Oh! New England with just minutes left. 1-0. It's Luke Nussbaum, their standout center back.
Oh yeah, who said that substitutes can't come in and change the game and center backs can't score potential game winners? Nobody said it. If you're an NEFC fan, that's exactly what transition football looks like. Park comes into the game late. He's been poised to affect the score sheet, and he does exactly that. This is why center backs deserve a lot of credit here. AJ, I like this. This is poised nature to take that first touch across the grain. The defense is played completely out of it, and then the finish gets behind Nemo. 1-0 in the 88th minute. It's game on. It's lit here in Murfreesboro.
He's had winners before with the Revolution Academy. This is probably the biggest one he's ever had with NEFC. On a brilliant run in transition, it was Chicago who was getting corner after corner. Felt like this one might just be destined for a shootout, at least in the last 15 minutes. Against the run of play, it's Nussbaum with a goal he might remember for quite some time.
Yeah, Nussbaum deserves a lot of credit because he's been resolute in his defending throughout the entirety of this match, and then he finds a moment. Football is all about moments, to turn this game completely on its head, but it hasn't been as one-sided as the possession stat will show you. If you look at the chances, New England has been right in this game. Chicago Fire has been putting them under a lot of pressure, but they have defended as a unit, and then when they've gone forward, they've gone with a lot of prowess and their teeth in their attack. They don't look to really play possession-based football in the middle third or literally lollygag on the ball. If they win it, they look to go forward. Park has understood that, coming in off the bench, gets a very deserved assist, and then the captain does the rest.
Miguel Campos, the substitute here for Chicago, is headed wide of the post, and Smulders will be in no hurry. There was no stoppage time in the first half. Wouldn't imagine there's too much here in the second half. Field went down earlier in the half, needed some attention from the medical staffs, maybe 3 minutes or so. We'll see. However much is added, time is ticking on Chicago's hopes. Along the line, sent across. Dangerous ball handled by New England.
Chicago's going to throw the kitchen sink at this, because if you don't score, you don't advance.
Everybody forward, but it's going the other way.
And again, I can't stress this enough. In the second half, Akinton has been a standout player. These tough plays where it's making it more and more difficult for Chicago to break it down and get either on the side of the defense of NEFC or through the middle has been, a lot of credit deserves to go to Akinton, because he's playing on a yellow card. You have to get your challenges right here, and he's made protecting the back four look very easy in the second half, and it's not.
I believe for Chicago that DeAndre Beckford is number 99, the most recent substitute. The fifth sub for Chicago was listed as a different number on the roster, but I believe that is Beckford. Trying to get Chicago back level with just 2 minutes of stoppage time left. Wow. What a potential finish here at the Siegel Complex. That'll be a foul.
And New England's going to take as much possible time off the clock without finding themselves in the book. And there's only about a minute plus left in this game with the added 3. They've done a very good job. This is a masterclass of not only killing time after they find that go-ahead goal, but to do it in a collective fashion.
They want a second here. Park sends it across. Nemo punches it away. Beckford can't get to it first. There's Akintan there. Desperation now from Chicago. Number of players on this roster, champions at Geodis Park last year. Target on their backs all year long, and it's been such an admirable 24-25 campaign. You don't want it to come to a perhaps premature conclusion here. They have just seconds left.
Ooh.
Brody Williams has shined today, but it has not resulted in a score. And now Park, precious seconds ticking for Chicago. Park has been fabulous off the bench in the second half.
Fantastic. Standout player in the second half for sure. And when you come into the match, especially as an attacking player, your job is to change the game and affect it for the better. Park has done exactly that. The manager will be very happy with the way the substitute has really now made it a situation where they're going to advance.
A bloody nose for Nussbaum here in the waning moments. And the final whistle blows. New England is moving on to the round of 16. With just minutes left against the run of play, Luke Nussbaum willing his team to the next round. Blood is pouring down his face, and he doesn't mind one bit.
No, he doesn't mind one bit. Those that mind are the Chicago Fire faithful in terms of the fans and support that traveled here to Nashville, and they see their team bow out of the playoffs very early in this first round after winning it all last year. But all of the credit, all of the talking points should be about New England because they stuck to their game plan. It's about leadership. It's about doing things as a cohesive unit, and they did that to the absolute nines. That's why who we're going to be talking about is Luke Nussbaum. He's the man of the match for due cause. If you're a center back and you get the game winner when you've been defending all night long, you're going to be the man of the match. Look at this moment here. Park comes in off the bench, and he shoots out like a cannon. I absolutely love what he does here. Hits a little shimmy, finds the captain. That first touch is the reason why he hits the game winner. The first touch with his left to the right, and then slots it. Nemo wrong-footed, can't make the save, and you can see everybody over here dancing in that corner for the New England, and it's excellent stuff. 1-0, they advance into the next round.
Joy and jubilation for this New England squad. They find the breakthrough with just minutes left on the clock. It's enough. It's all they needed. It's well-deserved. NEFC 1-0 over Chicago Fire, moving on to the round of 16. This copyrighted broadcast of the 2025 MLS NEXT Cup may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer and Player Development, LLC.